Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of MANOVAAC. I'm Chanchal
I'm Sirisha.
and we have some interesting questions for Guruji today. Guruji, the first question today is, in spirituality, the ultimate aim is to become one with God or universe or everything. In the start, how this one become so many? This question is from Savir Kuvaria.
Acha, how does the one become
So many.
so many?
When the ultimate aim
Is to become one again.
one again.
Yeah, that goes to the very root of why creation takes place.
Right.
But I think I've answered this in many other forums that you see, divinity is, I mean, it all comes from the great void, and the void then stirs into action, and that supreme soul sort of expands. Now, when it expands, it obviously has to expand into creation and create such, you can say, facilities that it'll be able, it'll enable experiences to be taken, and therefore the whole creation comes into effect. And because the Supreme Soul has certain kind of qualities and has consciousness and it has bliss, it needs to experience this via its creation. So, unless there is an expansion, this experience cannot be taken, it cannot be enjoyed, it cannot be perceived. So, the one has to multiply into thousands and millions and billions so that the whole creation can be put to use to get these experiences and to add to that wealth of consciousness and bliss. So the one fragments into many. And yes, the ultimate aim is to come back to the one, because where else will you go? I mean, there is nowhere else to go. So for a long time, you remain as the many. But yes, at one stage, it will all become one again. But for that to happen, it will happen when it has to happen. We are not bothered about that. The personal aim is to go towards one and merge with one. But even when you merge with divinity, you can retain the independence of the soul, because once a soul is created, it is never extinguished. It never is demolished, you can say. So you can merge into God, and yet you can retain a certain degree of your soul's identity and independence. So yes, the whole exercise, it's the journey. You know, it's the whole thing is a journey, and it's taking the fun of that journey, that experience, the joy, the bliss, which is what the whole creation is about. And
So basically, when we experience everything, when the soul experiences everything, that is when it wants to go back, because you've kind of you're content with the experience. That
after you take numerous experiences, and see, planet Earth is only one planet where you take certain kinds of experiences, human experiences. There may be others in the universe where you take different kind of experiences. But as far as we are concerned, we are only connected with the Earth. So we have to take all the experiences connected with the planet Earth and what a human being can take. you know.
And we will always remain attached to Earth.
For the foreseeable future, yes, we will be connected and attached to planet Earth. I mean, you may take a human birth or not, but yes, you will be attached to planet
Planet Earth.
Earth, yes, whether in spirit form or in human form.
And then how does growing population come into the picture with this? That means those souls are already
They
there,
are already there, committed to the planet.
committed to planet.
So, certain number of souls in the spirit world are contracted, you can say, like how you have
So there is a
contract
finite
workers.
number
like-
which we do not know.
We do not know that number.
Okay.
We do not know that number. But yes, there is a finite number which are contracted to planet Earth. And only a certain percentage of that takes birth at a certain point in time. Surely.
But then why is the number not restricted considering that the planet is getting exploited? I mean,
No,
that may be a human tendency. One is, why is that tendency not being corrected? I mean,
No,
why are humans...
that self-correction will take place.
It will.
It will. Whenever things go out of hand, nature
The
has
way we
its...
are seeing over
We are
the
seeing now
last
in
2 years,
in
1.5-2
a
years.
few years,
Yeah.
we've been seeing how the correction is taking place. So that always comes in whatever form.
Nature will correct.
Nature will correct and bring about a balance. That we don't have to worry about.
The next question is, it is said that soul takes birth to take experience or realize the truth, but it is also said that soul becomes ignorant by identifying it as body or mind.
Yeah.
Why would soul take the route of ignorance to realize knowledge?
See, it's not that the soul is taking the route of ignorance to realize knowledge, but you see, when the soul contracts to be a part of a planet, it is in a state of ignorance. And it is to remove that ignorance that we take various experiences and learn various lessons and gravitate towards a more evolved and a highly vibrational state for our soul. So we start in ignorance, or rather we come down in ignorance. That ignorance is what our whole mission and purpose of taking human life is all about, to remove that ignorance. So we keep incarnating, and with every incarnation we remove a certain amount of ignorance. It can go away in one lifetime if you're that determined and that focused on it, but normally it doesn't, because there are so many other factors that play a role in a human being, like your desires, your you can say the grossness, your appetites, various appetites, and selfishness, and your mental emotional makeup. So these play a very strong role, because each individual soul is given a independent thinking faculty. Unlike animals, we are human souls are given independent thinking faculty. So you have to use that, and particularly our discriminative faculty, a wisdom faculty. We got to use that to push away the negatives, to push away our unwanted desires, which only lead to more and more suffering. And we got to realize that at some point the soul has to come to that stage where it says, no, I don't want to suffer anymore, and I want to get out of this suffering and acquire the knowledge that will take me out of this suffering. Till then, it is in the state of ignorance.
So does that mean that when the souls were created, whenever they were created at the lowest level, or
No,
they originate from the highest level
they
and then fall to lowest?
they don't fall, but they are not. See, when the souls are created, they are just reflections of divinity.
So that means each soul, however
But
gross,
it is not ready to merge with, because once it's come out of the divine,
separate entity.
it is separate. Yes, it is given a separate entity, and it is in ignorance. It because the Maya forces that ignorance onto you. Because without that ignorance, then you'll be one with God. So then you can't take experiences.
So basically, when we evolve, we are, say, if we say we are moving up, so we are taking experience which the soul has not taken earlier.
It may have taken earlier, but it's not learned its lessons. So
No,
you have to
not
you
in the
relearn them.
lifetimes. Meaning, suppose we are progressing, and in no lifetime we have fallen down. We are going up only. We are
Yeah.
evolving. For
Yeah.
example, we are learning our lessons, whatever is contracted. So, if we are coming here from here, and we are yet to reach here, that means we have never taken this experience.
No, obviously
earlier.
not. Obviously not.
Meaning
Yeah.
the soul
The
and
higher
its
experiences are not taken.
not there.
No.
So
no.
it's first time for every soul.
Every soul, yeah.
So
of
each
course.
progress is like a step ahead for every soul.
For
It's not
every
like
soul,
it
no.
was there earlier and then
Oh
it
no
fell
no
down
no
and then
no
it's
no
going
no no
back.
no no not at all, not at all, no. You will progress to newer and better experiences and higher experiences, I would say.
Okay. So the next question is, Saint says that you have to purify your mind to realize the truth. First, exactly how do we purify our mind? While living in this world, we do absorb impurities like anger, hatred, greed almost daily. How do we protect ourselves from absorbing impurities?
Yeah, see the whole problem with a human being comes with the mind. Okay, and so because everything that you process is processed by the mind. So when we say we got to progress and we got to evolve and enlighten ourselves, you go to the problem area, which is the mind. That is why the mind has to be purified. Now, what does purification of the mind mean? Actually, is your mind is outward going. Okay, so it projects outward all the time. You look for satiating your desires. So the mind is involved in satiating desires. Now, purification of mind means to turn the mind inwards. Because otherwise you can't. If you just endlessly go on satisfying your wants and your desires, it is bound to corrupt you. Because the more you want, more you satisfy, the more you want. And our physical reality is that way very attractive, and we want to keep satisfying more wants. But at a point, it becomes painful, and suffering comes in. That's when you realize that no, this is not the ultimate, and there's something else beyond it. So that is when the purification of the mind becomes relevant. And as a sadhak, go to the area which is the problem area, which is the mind. Now, to purify the mind, you have to turn the mind inwards, because the more you take it outward, it is not going to get purified, it's not going to change. That is why religion has limitations, because religion is an outward search for God, an outward search for divinity. So it has severe limitations, whereas spirituality is an inward search for God, and that is why it is limitless. It is effective. It is fruit bearing. It is result oriented. So when you say purifying the mind, it is basically turning the mind inwards towards yourself and towards within you, and trying to find out who you really are and why you exist and what you are here for, what lessons you have learned, what lessons you can learn, This is all purification of the mind. Rather than letting the mind go out and say, okay, I want more wealth, I want more, I want to satisfy my desires, I want to have this, I want to have that, I want to have what so and so has, I want to become the richest person, I want to become the most powerful person. This is all mind going out. This is not going to purify the mind. You have to turn the mind inside to purify it.
And controlling senses comes here.
Controlling senses comes only with that purification of the mind. Because still your mind is going outside, your senses are not going to get controlled. So when you turn the mind inside, only then can you understand what your senses are and control them.
And maybe bring about some balance in how
Bring
much,
about balance, bring about change,
and awareness of how much you want
how
to
much you
run
really
after
need
or
to
right,
have.
Right.
And how much you can indulge your senses and where you need to control them. Yes. So, but of course, all that is done with sadhana
Right.
and through sadhana.
Otherwise,
But
it's difficult to control
Otherwise, it's
your
difficult. No,
senses. You
it's
can't.
very difficult. It's very difficult. It only happens through sadhana
Right.
and
Because
spiritual
You
practice.
can just say meditation and sit, and really it's not
No,
doing
no,
much
no, no, no.
unless you
Meditation
do
is
some
only one
practice.
aspect of sadhana,
Yeah.
one small aspect of sadhana.
Kriyas have a big role.
You know, the kriyas, many others, whatever sadhana suits you.
Right.
Yeah, but it has to be spiritual practices and those that take you within rather than take you out.
Right. Because outward is already existing.
Or already exists. You're in the muck and you're wanting to put your hand in the muck to say, okay, I want to purify myself. That's not going to happen.
Right, right.
That-
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Hmm.
Guruji, one question here.
Hmm.
How to develop discriminative thinking
Yeah.
to see that everything is impermanent and still live joyfully in this world?
Yeah. See, discriminative intellect is actually wisdom faculty. Now, it is a God-given part of you. It is really the divine part in you,
Okay.
which is the wisdom. And wisdom is the ability to discriminate what is real and what is not real, what is permanent and what is temporary. This is the major, you can say, function of discriminative intellect. We are given an intellect. Now, normally we use our intellect for day-to-day purposes, for living life well, whatever. Discriminative intellect is used at the spiritual level,
Okay.
at the soul level. And every human being has discriminative intellect. That we don't use it, that we keep it undeveloped or underdeveloped, that is our problem and our ignorance and our grossness. But every human being has that wisdom faculty. It's the divine part of us.
Okay.
Okay? Now, so you don't grow it, but yes, you do uncover it.
Okay.
So is it that small voice inside that
It
tells
is,
us in the
yes,
situation that
very
this should
often.
be done?
Very often it's a
Which
small
we
voice
ignore many times.
which you don't like
Yes.
because
So,
it goes against all your
what we
desires
want,
and what you
yes.
want to do.
Yes.
So
But
that
it'll
is
always say something.
it'll
inside.
always tell you what you should be doing instead of
Right.
what you are doing.
Right.
So discriminative intelligence plays a very big role in your spiritual progress and development. Because that is what really tells you what you should be doing and should not be doing. It tells you how to go ahead, how to come out of suffering. And yes, it also ultimately shows you that everything is impermanent. Life is impermanent. I mean, you at some point you stop breathing and you die. So when life itself is impermanent, everything else along with life is also impermanent. So why do you kill yourself over it? And why do you commit so much karma over it? Negative karma. You know? So this is part of discriminative, this is the role of discriminative thinking. And another major aspect of discriminative thinking is to realize that nothing really belongs to us. I mean, we are trustees of everything, whether it's your money, your property, your children, your wealth, your businesses, your everything. We are mere trustees for a limited period of time. But we think we own it and we cling to it with that attachment that we are the owners. And it's all us and we are doing it. No, it's given to us. It comes into our lives. Yes, obviously sometimes you work hard for it and you say, oh, I worked for my wealth, I worked for my success. Sure you do. But that is part of life and that's how you get things in your life. But nothing really belongs to you. So this is another role that discriminative intellect plays.
So it's counter to Maya.
It's counter to Maya. It shows
Tool
you
given
it
to us.
shows you the false face
Face
of Maya.
Maya.
Correct. So that has to be highly developed in a sadhak. So it is there. It's not that you got to go out to get it, but you have to uncover it and you have to give it. See, discriminative intellect is an objective voice. It doesn't tell you what you want to hear. It tells you what actually is the situation as it is. So it may not agree with your other mind, your lower mind, or your intelligence also sometimes. Because this is the wisdom factor. So it may go completely against what you want to hear, but it still tells you. And this is what you have to develop and uncover as you go on the
And
spiritual
sadhana
path.
really
And
helps.
sadhana helps in this.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
I mean, it sharpens the discriminative
ability
intellect.
that has been
Yeah,
given.
that ability is already there. Every human being has it. I mean, even the most spiritually, you can say,
Someone who's not doing any spiritual practices,
unevolved soul. The
Yes.
most unevolved soul will also have
Okay.
that, but it is uncovered. It's
Right. Right.
under a lot of veils.
Veils, yes.
You have to remove those veils.
Right. Thank you, Guruji. The next question, Guruji, is should one aim to realize God
Hmm.
or own soul? Now, when this person is asking God, he is referring to Lord Shiva.
Okay.
And what is the difference between the two? Should one aim to realize God, that is Lord Shiva, or
Or
should
oneself.
you aim to realize your own soul? And what is
Yeah.
the difference?
Yeah. Okay. The difference is our human ignorance. See, the whole perception of human ignorance stems with the fact that we think we are separate from God.
Okay.
We are separate from divinity. This is the start of the journey. The separation is the start of the journey, like I said earlier. So till that point you feel you are separated. You are under the hold of Maya. You are under the assumption that you are different from divinity. You have to achieve divinity.
Okay.
Okay?
Achieving, okay.
Yeah,
yes.
you have to achieve that level. You have to achieve that status. Now, the whole point is that you can look for divinity outside and look for divinity inside. So you can see Shiva outside in a temple, you can see Shiva in your own heart. They are both Shiva only. You are also, in a way, Shiva. And the Murti you see is also Shiva. Means,
Right.
Murti is not Shiva, but what I'm saying is that form is also Shiva. Now it depends on how you connect. If you connect better by seeing God outside
Okay.
and connecting very strongly with that, that's your path. If you feel that, okay, I can see God inside me and part of me,
Right.
then you take that path and you take that way towards God. Both are going to get you to the same place. It's
And
not that
these
they're
paths-
divergent.
These paths change, like sometimes.
And they could change. At some point, you could feel
From outward to
a
inward?
lot of, yes. In fact, you start mostly with outward
Outward,
manifestation
and
of
gradually
God.
you go.
And
towards
gradually you
inward.
realize that, okay, this is the same. As you get spiritual experiences of certain type, maybe in meditation, maybe in any other sadhana, you realize that, okay, what I see out is also in me. And I can see it in me. Then you realize there's no difference.
Right.
Then the separatedness melts. Then this question won't arise.
Right.
It is only in our ignorance of the reality
Right.
and the ignorance which perpetuates the separatedness that this happens.
So Nirvanashtakam is actually this only, the
I-
inward.
exactly.
I am
Nirvashtakam,
Shiva.
Nirvashtakam is perfectly describes the outside Shiva is also inside, and there is nothing other than that.
I think this answers the question. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you so much for joining in today. Looking forward to the next episode. Thank you.